Talking all things entertainment, this is Sherripullum in the studio with Dreamers Unite. Creating your brand with marketing strategist Lisa Nkonoki. Hey Dreamers, and welcome to Dreamers Unite in the studio. We are so happy to be back with you, and certainly I am thrilled every time you come here and spend time with me. So in the studio is our new podcast series. It is all about everything entertainment. And I just thought, for me, I'm in the entertainment industry, and it's just important that you know the vast number of careers out here in the entertainment industry and what kind of impact that you can make, not only on your own life, but on others, in others' lives as well. And talking about making impact, well, I have the guest on today that you do not want to miss out on. Her name is Lisa Nkonoki. Yep, she's a great friend of mine. She is talented. She is an entertainment boss, a marketing and brand strategist. She has worked with top celebrities all over this country, probably internationally as well. And she is a mom. She's a grandmom, a Gigi, a gorgeous grandmom, and so much more. Really, she's an inspiration. She's a business owner, and we're going to take a deep dive with her. Today, we're going to focus on how do you live your dreams, because she's a life coach and family advocacy coach. Oh my goodness, so many roles that she wears, but really she is a purveyor of possibility. So without further ado, let me stop chatting and let me introduce you to my dear, dear longtime friend. I am really, Lisa, it's just such a pleasure. She was coming in person, but you know what? Sometimes things happen. We're just going to have you back. We are connected. So Lisa Nkonoki, thank you so much for coming and being with me and our community here on Dreamers Unite.
Right. Anything for you. I'm excited about not only being with you, but also the whole idea about dreamers and uniting and the idea of living your dreams. So this is right up my alley with you.
It sure is. Well, listen, when I'm put together this show, so it's new, this podcast is new, and I think about who the first guest, getting it started, getting it off the ground. And I was like, you know what, Lisa Nkonoki, live your dreams. Girl, come on now.
I mean, you have to. I think about as a kid, one of my favorite words was dream, but not just dream, not just the word dream. It's about turning your dreams into reality. I don't know where I got that phrase in my mind. That's what I always thought about. Not just having a dream, but turning into reality. And what I've loved to do is not just have my own dreams, but to help others turn their dreams into reality. And that actually gets me so excited, Sherry. Sometimes you have people that aren't always excited when you tell them you want to do something that sounds so crazy. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, if you want to do it, let me try and help you. How can we get there? What can we do? Because I feel that someone else's success is part of your own success.
Yeah.
If you can see other people take flight, it's the best feeling. It excites me, honestly. It really does. So I'm so happy to be here and share whatever I can to hopefully impart and help someone launch their dreams.
I think that's what we're here for, right? Is to live in our purpose and then to reach back and to serve greater. And for me, it is about inspiring higher, right? And also finding out, like you said, how do you do it? Because here on Dreamers Unite, don't get it twisted, people, because we're not talking about just dreaming to be dreaming. That's great too. No. Everything is a possibility, but we really are talking about how do you manifest those dreams? How do you turn them, that little seed, that inspiration that you have inside of you, how do you make it happen? And here's a lady that's going to help us. So before we talk about that, I want to talk about this entertainment boss and how you became, I think you're an entertainment guru. That's what I call it, entertainment guru.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Entertainment guru. So what's an entertainment boss? What does that mean?
Well, I think because I've, mastered a variety of areas that I've either worked in or had a role in. So I think it encompasses so many things. I think when we were younger, you always focus on what's the one thing you want to do. And I never was a one type of activity type of person. And I really believed in the parable of the talents, to be honest with you. I believed in that when I was young. And I my short way of summarizing that was like, if God gives you talents, you use them or lose them. The more you can use them and hone in on them and master them, you'll be blessed, hopefully, to be able to do a few more things and master those things. So I really kind of had that idea of, if I don't get good at one thing, then I might lose it. So I ended up getting good at a few things. And so to me, that's more of a boss, where it's not just one thing that you're doing, but you're able to do and take your expertise in a variety of areas and help other people to go on to what they need to do as well.
How did you jumpstart your Live Your Dreams coaching? How'd you jumpstart into helping people? And then talk about, how did you make that connection to working with celebrities?
Well, I think, once again, when we were younger, I mean, the Jackson 5 were like the dream of everything, the dream to watch on TV, to watch perform, to go to their concert, to want to one day grow up and maybe marry them. But, what really happened was, more or less, that I really had to come to grips with, how are you not just the person going to get that autograph? I think that's really where it started for me. I would go backstage, have a chance to meet a lot of people, but I wanted to keep those connections. So networking for me came very easily at a very young age. And then from there, you just kind of turned it into, how do you monetize that? Mm-hmm. I think the other thing that I did at a young age that I was really good at was pageants. I started working, I was in a pageant. I didn't feel I was the most beautiful, but I knew I had talent, and I still wasn't the most talented. But I always had a root for other people kind of attitude, which is something that not everybody has when you're in pageants or top competitions. And I remember winning Miss Congeniality in the Hal Jackson's Talented Teen pageant, where I met the winner of the pageant was one of my best friends, Sheila Robinson. And I was in awe of her. Her talent was extraordinary. So I wanted to kind of emulate in some ways the best of what she was, but not take from her what she was. And so I also saw some of the shortcomings in different people. So one of those things was questions and answers that I love to do. So I went on to create other opportunities for myself to work with people who were older and more experienced than me, but somehow I found my own niche. And I was able to work with people like Angela Stribling, who we all know is on the radio. But I was a kid, 12, 13, working with these women who were, 16, 20, 25. And they would look at me and think, yes, I was young, but I actually had some impact. And so from there, I went on and created my own pageant for young girls. That I also was very cognizant. I didn't want it to be a beauty pageant because I didn't feel like everybody feels beautiful, at least where I was coming from. So I created a pageant for young girls based on the desire to excel, not on beauty, because I felt like if our message is always about beauty, then we miss the essence of what else we have to offer. Mm-hmm. So I always had a kind of marketing brain to be able to do that. Not to mention, when I was 15, I did one of the first rap concerts with then Russell Simmons and Curtis Blow.
Wow.
And again, trying to figure out how to do promotion. There wasn't a concert hall that I felt would help us make enough money, but I did at the roller skating rink. And I have to laugh at now, how many years later, how many decades later, roller skating is back in. But I did it at the Plainville roller skating rink along with some other folks. So again, I just was always innovative, I think, with my ideas. And I was fortunate enough to work in TV. Volunteering was a big piece of my training. I volunteered when I was 11 to work at then WHNB, which is the NBC affiliate here. And then I worked on Capitol Hill at 15 for a congressman and learned about press. So there were all these things. I wrote for the Hartford Inquirer. I worked for, I did things special to the New Britain Herald at the time. So again, it was about doing something that my mom set us up to do when we were younger. Like, what do you want to do? And then we'd say it and she'd say, okay, like put it into action, not just say it. So I remember saying I wanted to be a fashion designer, but I didn't want to take the time to stitch all the clothes. so even though I love drawing the pictures, when she said, okay, let's go sew, I was like, I mean, I knew how to sew a little bit, but again, it kind of gives you the blueprint of what you like to do. And it wasn't that I didn't like, I just knew it wasn't going to be something that I was going to follow through on. So you kind of take the best of things and you learn about yourself. I think that's really what it is. You learn about yourself. And as, you know, I move forward and I work with people day in and day out, what I find sometimes is people lose themselves and lose what their dreams were. They think they're too old. They think, oh, it's too late, or I had kids, or for whatever reason, or their dreams deferred helping someone else to get in their family, and they lose out on what was really in their heart and soul. So I love trying to reignite that flame in someone. When I asked them, if you had 30 days to live, what would you be doing? People look at me and I say, well, it's not about, if money was no object, let's also say that. If money was no object, because I think what happens is people think very literal. If you get a diagnosis from something medically, people want to think, oh, I'm dying of cancer. What do I want to do? Why don't we have these thoughts now when there's nothing wrong?
That's right.
Why don't we take the time to kind of look, where would we be? Who would we be with? What would we do? Who would be around us? You know, who would make us smile? What would we want to have on our bucket list? And so I think that, again, trying to ignite those conversations in people, because so many people, I can tell you, they initially will say, well, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what my second act is, but they know. And I tell people, everything, your talents are within. I just am kind of here to help bring out in something that was already in you, that was dormant, or that you didn't really know, or you didn't put the dots, connect the dots. But people have it within them. It's just a matter of taking the time to be kind enough and really be inspired to hear what's going on with someone else. And maybe take their life journeys and turn it into something they never thought of doing. So I think it's just, I thank God it's a talent, I believe, that I've been given because I love talking. I always tell people my hobby is talking, and I love hearing people almost struggle. I can almost see their mind going, I don't know, what do I want to do? Okay, well, tell me. They'll say, oh, well, if I had $1 million, I'll buy a house. What kind of house? What would be in it? How many rooms? Where, you know, let's get to the details, because I think unless we really get down to the details of what we want, whatever it is, that we really don't help ourselves manifest what it is that's right in front of us, or could be in front of us.
Lisa, you've just said so much.
Sorry.
So much. No, don't apologize. I'm saying that's such a good thing. What I love is, you're so passionate about what you do.
I am.
And what I also love is that you're a go-getter, you're a hard worker, and you're someone that's curious about life, curious about people. And you're also someone, as you say, a purveyor of possibility. I love that, by the way.
Yes.
I won't take it, but I am gonna at times and say I'm a purveyor of possibility. Yeah. Because I definitely believe anything is possible. Yeah.
Anything's possible. And I think I'm also very reflective historically. I literally think every day, you know, our ancestors did amazing things. Yeah. And so whatever trials or challenges I might have, or others, there is nothing compared to what our ancestors had to go through, endure. And I always say that, you know, whatever my struggle or challenge is, so I always think strategically in terms of, if there's a roadblock, how can we maneuver or get around it? Yeah. Or what's the lesson we're supposed to learn? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, our ancestors were so resilient and so they were ingenious in many ways. And maybe it was just to be free, but they kept thinking, kept sharing, kept trying. So we have nothing, no excuse of why we can't, if we have a setback, why we can't still move forward.
That's
why
right.
we can't think about what are the other things we could do? And how can we make an impact and make our ancestors proud along the way?
I love you bringing in the ancestors.
Yes,
we have sure, to. Because we have a responsibility to the ancestors.
We have a responsibility.
We do.
We would not be where we are today. And I think for me, that's what drives me. I think the work that I feel still needs to be done is with our younger folks who might not always have that same connection in many ways to our ancestors, to even some of our own family, because it's we have the chance to have so much information, but sometimes we don't share some of those just basic concrete stories of our own struggles, and not in a negative way, but in a way for people to understand that we have a duty and a responsibility to continue on for our family, for people who couldn't do what we're doing today. So I do feel, that's just part of what I feel is everyone's journey. If we could look back and honor someone or do something that someone else never could do or weren't allowed to be done at that time.
That's right. That's right. And you said so much there too. Like, listen, at the end of the day, our ancestors were obviously fighting for their own liberty, for their own freedom, but they were also fighting to be able to help the next generation, the next generation, the next generation to go on. You know what I mean? So we do have a responsibility, and what they went through and what they endured, we can only imagine. And so when we feel like giving up, it is about sharing those stories. And we have so much rich history. We don't share it in our families. And I will say this, but this will be another show, because you should come back. We should have a specific talk on this.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm totally love to preserve family history and family stories. Because if we don't tell our stories, who else is going to tell them? And and are they going to get told with truth and integrity?
Right.
Is so important. So you're going to come back and we're going to talk more about that, because we got to take a deep dive into unpacking and helping us to preserve our stories and to preserve our history. Because again, like I said, if we don't tell our stories, who's going to tell them? And we want to make sure that they get told with truth. So
that's right. And the other thing too, and to because I don't want this to just be that the message is just to the African American or Latino community. It's to everyone.
It's everyone.
Because there are allies in every faction of this world that have helped us, whether it's with the Underground Railroad or other things. There were kind people that were courageous and helped in other factors. So we need to know those stories about people that have helped others that are like us, that without their path or their bridge building, maybe we wouldn't have been able to do things. So there's allies still even today that we need to know, that not everybody was on the wrong side of history. Not everybody meant for us to not have the dreams that have been deferred for so many of us. So I want to just make sure I say that too, so that everybody feels like they can make a difference. And if their ancestors or other people, no matter who they are, didn't make a difference, here's your chance to step in and make a difference now.
That's right. Here's your chance to be what? Start with the I. Be accountable for you. Because once you know, right, you can't do better unless you know.
Unless you know better.
Unless you know better. Then once you know, you need to be doing better. Okay. So let me ask you, so we can give somebody something tangible today to walk away with. So 3 top, I would say, maybe nuggets that you have that you could give someone right now to help them to start identifying their, like you said, a lot of people don't even know what they want, to be able to really live their purpose, to be able to live their dream, though we know dreams shift many times. And once you accomplish something, there should always, we always need a why, right? We all need to have purpose, why we want to be on this planet. It's important for a healthy, happy life. So 3 nuggets that could help people to really live their dream.
So let me say a couple things, and this goes not just for entertainment, but I'll start for something very basic, like getting into school, because I have grandchildren who have been doing the college process, something that you've already been through. And, as, a couple things have happened, and over the years, in particular with our minority students, I will hear college counselors say, well, you shouldn't apply at certain schools. As soon as someone says you shouldn't, to me, we got to go for that place. And we got to figure it out. And I always ask the question, well, who are your contacts? And did you know mine? Because you're assuming something without even asking, without us having that dialogue. So I always am very clear, in particular with my grandchildren and other people, to first make your dream list of schools, whether it's a prep school and high school or whether it's a college, because this starts your training and your strategies and the competitiveness, if you will.
That's right.
Has to start or think back to an earlier time. And how are you going to set yourself apart? Because as I said to my grandkids, if I'm on the other side as a regular human being reading 50,000 applications, I'm human. I'm going to be tired after so many same things. I'm great. So my thing is always to them, what was your real arch? What can you tell someone that they don't know? What's something that's really challenging that maybe you didn't share with anybody else? Maybe it's a secret. Because if everybody just talks about how great they are, there's no real diversity. And I'm not just talking about in terms of what people look like. There's no diversity in the stories. There's nothing compelling. So give me something compelling that I can read, something compelling that I can remember you. And I think starting with that, and that goes along with whatever industry. So starting out with high school and college and moving on when you're in any career factor, not just the entertainment industry. In the entertainment industry in particular, people, want to be famous, especially in this day and age. People want instant everything, instant fame, instant food, instant gratification. So the question is, how do you strategize to be able to enjoy that part of this success is a journey? How can you make your journey so that we learn along the way, so that when you get to your destination, you can really enjoy the process?
Yeah, and so what's a step that they can figure out how they can do it?
One is making a simple list. What sets you out from everybody else? Okay? How are you going to distinguish yourself as a brand? Because it's really about branding, whether it's for college applications in your essay or whether it's you're going for an acting audition.
Right.
Something also very simple is writing a thank you note, being kind to people. I don't care what industry you're in. When you get a handwritten note, not just a thank you on the computer, it happens so rarely that people are like, wow, you took the time. Remembering something about someone means something very good. So, for example, I'll even give you something where I worked with a group of clients last year, and we were getting pitches from different big media and big entertainment executives. I'll say it to you. Very big, well known. And one of the people out of the 5 sent everyone roses or flowers, big arrangements with a card. Every single person, we were like all looking like, what? And they weren't the most established out of the set of 5.
Right.
They weren't the wealthiest, if you will, out of the set of 5 and had the most prestige. But it was memorable because they set themselves apart, that you want to work with that person. It didn't matter. It bumped them to the top of the list because they set themselves apart. And that doesn't mean they bought their way. It meant they valued you enough to write a note, to do something again that made you remember why you were involved with them in the first place and why you want to do more. So I do think setting yourself apart always works. How are you going to be value added? You can't just want something and think, I just want to be here. I just need to be here. What's your value added to that production?
Yes.
To that company? How do you set yourself apart? Are you going to be the person that goes to work when you get a temporary job at the place, say, for example, and wants to go home at 9 to 5 because you have plans at 5? Or are you going to be willing to work 9 to 9? Because that's a lot of things I see in young people or people in general. Oh my God, I can't wait to get this job. And then as soon as it's hard work, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to be nights and weekends. Well, you want to learn, you want to set yourself apart. Maybe you don't know everything, but your willingness to participate and stay in the game, your willingness to be open to do whatever within reason, as long as it's legal and nobody's making you do something crazy.
Yes.
I think also set yourself apart. Too often people say, oh, I'll do anything. No, they won't, because they'll say, well, what does running to get coffee have to do with this? Well, you don't know. It could be just a test. Not everything is what it appears. So, again, as long as somebody's not disrespecting you in a way that's, indecent. And, some people might say, well, it's disrespectful that I have to go get coffee or I have to go pick up your mail. No, it's about, do you have the wherewithal and do you have the stick-to-itiveness to kind of wait and see where this is leading and what you can learn from this, how you can humble yourself and maybe sit back and observe what's going on. So I do think there's all these types of things. The third thing is preparation. If you are prepared, you have to be prepared. You can't just show up. And like I said, it doesn't mean you can't show up to places, but preparation. If you say you want to be an actor and an actress, have you taken acting lessons? Have you looked at who's the top? And not just acting lessons. Are you ready to do dance? Are you ready to do hobbies, a few different things? Yeah. So that you're prepared. Do you speak a different language? If not, did you go online and try to pick up a couple of those things? The other thing that I cannot believe is so easy when you're going to interview with someone or going to meet someone and people don't just do a simple background. Who is this person?
Yes.
Did they go to school? Where you went to school? Where are they from? Where do you have a common conversation with them? Maybe you do have something in common, but you didn't even take the time to find out who you're going to meet. It can't be about you. You have to have interest in other people. And maybe what was their story? Because I'm sure they had challenges. Can you appreciate someone else's story and not just be so focused on you? Those are basic things. It's basic, but you wouldn't believe how many times people, it's a total misstep. And I just think to myself, oh my goodness, it's like learning your ABCs. It's real basic stuff. And be kind.
Be kind. So let's break it down for them. This is the basic stuff. Okay. Make your list. Make your list. Okay.
What sets you apart
from everybody else? Okay, dreamers, we're catching this nugget from Lisa Nkonoki.
What sets you apart?
What sets you apart? Gratitude. Walk and live in gratitude, right?
Yes. Kindness is free. I tell my grandkids all the time, kindness is free. Why don't just do the basic things? Thank you. Opening the door for someone. You could be opening the door going into a building for someone you don't know. How hard is it to just hold it for the next person? You're going to only hold it if you think, oh, it was the top producer, I'll hold it. No. Hold it for anybody. You never
I'm going to slam it if I don't know you. Let me just let it go.
People are really, I'm not kidding you. And I heard actually Ray Allen, it was so funny. I heard he wrote something on his Instagram, I think, that said, we're the teachers and just going to take the shopping cart and putting it back. And I thought, ooh, I did do that this afternoon, but it was in my head that I could walk it all the way back to the door, just to the front, just little things that help other people and shows your children, your nieces, your nephews by example. Yes. Kindness is free. Having thoughtfulness about someone else. We don't know what maybe someone else can't get there because they have a walker or something else. We can go and take it and help them.
Yes. So I was going to say, even as you were saying, I was just thinking about as trying to define your list of what you want. And as you talked about giving back, it's also defining that list and being of service, right? So and you were talking about adding value. That was the third thing, right? Yeah. Adding value. And when you add value, that means you're adding value because you're being of service. providing something for someone that they need. And so you add value that way by being of service.
But it's also about if you want to be a part of a company or part of a team or part of a production, what else is it that they might need?
That's right.
I'll give you a really good example. I remember when Tate George first graduated from UConn and Magic Johnson was coming here to do a basketball camp with him. And I wanted to be a part. I didn't know either one of them, but I loved Magic Johnson at the time. And I thought, wow, if I could help them with some sponsors and things locally, that might be of value added. And I got to know Magic, I got to know Tate, and I created something where they weren't asking for it, but it was something that brought added value, whether it was sandwiches that everybody could get or a sponsor that they didn't know about. Bringing that to help someone else also can help you indirectly if you get to know someone else. But I also got to do other marketing and other things. So I think you have to kind of, again, it's not always a hidden agenda, but it was something that could help other people. It was something I could learn. I didn't know as much about, I knew basketball, but I didn't know as much about marketing and basketball, sports marketing in that way. And again, I think sharing your geniuses, whatever God gave you, don't be afraid to share it, because I think so often people are very selfish. You know, I hear people say to me all the time, oh, aren't you worried about saying this because someone's going to steal this from you? Someone's going to take it from you. And trust me, there have been many times people have taken or replicated things that I know I created. But I feel a couple of things. I feel like no one could steal what God has given me, number one. And number two, even if they do it, it will not be done like I would do it. And, you know, so when I always think about that, when I'm trying to style or put something together, it might not be like you or the next person, but it has my imprint and it has my vision. No one knows what's in my head.
That's right.
And I know what's, so I don't walk around afraid like, oh my God, I can't let anybody know. Because again, I feel like our purpose is to share and help other folks. And if someone wants to try and replicate something I've done, it's a form of flattery. But again, you know, if they don't give credit, not always good. But guess what? It can't take anything from you that wasn't yours in the first place.
That's right. That's right. Well, talking about sharing and helping someone else, this is the perfect lead-in for our next segment. Because you're going to help someone else by answering a question. So we're having a call-in by someone, one of our dreamers in our dreamers community that wants to ask you a question. So they need some guidance. So we're going to move on to our next segment. And Lisa, we thank you so much for all that you've shared right now to empower, to inspire, to help people to really understand, not like you said, what it just takes to be in the entertainment business, but any industry. You can apply all these principles, all the values, the things that you've just said. So I hope you all had out your notebooks, and we're moving on to our call-in. Hi, caller.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
That's good. Why don't you give us your name?
Hi, my name is Jeremiah.
We are so glad that you called in with a question for Lisa. So take it away.
Hi, Lisa. So I know that you have been in the entertainment business and the media business, and you've done things with businesses and entertainers and performers throughout your career. And for the sake of finding community, I had a question about how do you find or build your community when being an entertainer or someone who's a part of, you know, media and film? How do you find your community as whether it be an entertainer or producer, or build one?
Well, I think you can look up your organizations. For example, if you're a producer, the Producers Guild of America could be one. But then I'd always look for, if you're a producer who's African-American or Latino, look online on LinkedIn. They have different groups. Also, in terms of just going to where, for example, an event that the Producers Guild or the Writers Guild or Writers Guild East or West or, you know, so on and so forth. If it's comedy, you go to those particular venues, maybe where there's an event, and you're gonna find your tribe. Everybody might not be open the first day. It's always uncomfortable walking into new situations. But hey, what you want to do is be in the best situation to learn from the best. So if that means going all the way to going to an event where they're giving the Producers Guild of America award, I want to be in that room so I can see who else are the movers and shakers, who's getting those awards, who are the people that I want to associate with, who I would like to learn from. And also cold calling up people, and again, volunteering on the award shows for an upcoming event during Black History Month, going to a museum. There's all kinds of artists. I think when we say producers or writers or actors, we forget they're all artists. It's artistry at the end of the day. So whether it's going to your local museum and see what programs they have there, because they're undoubtedly going to bring in different people or different artists or different entertainers for a variety of things at different times during the year. So it's getting to know at the local level first, who's doing something, who's the arts organizations in your community first, and then going from there, whether it's New York or going to a regional theater or so on and so forth. So I think, again, if we don't think of just one industry as being the only place we can find community, and I think we think too linear sometimes in terms of, well, that's not really my group. You can go to NBA All-Star Weekend and meet all kinds of people, whether in all types of industries, because they're congregating where the best of the best is. Whether you're at the NBA, the NFL, people are all working at the best. You want to be with people who work at the top of their game. So the top of any game is something that all of us can admire. So I think, again, if we don't think so rigid in terms of, oh, it's only this, that doesn't apply to you, you can find your tribe.
So do you think that you can take something that Lisa said and start there?
Yes. Okay. One point that I would definitely take that, I know she said a lot, but the one that definitely stuck out to me is get local.
Yes.
Being local, there's a lot of opportunity local that gets overlooked. And people maybe feel like and by people, I'm speaking for myself, will feel like they need to be in like maybe a big city, or they need to be in like LA, or they need to be in New York. But sometimes you can find, that next director or producer or actor that becomes you the party, that one extra person in your tribe, in your community, that you both can help and grow in both of your careers.
You plant your seeds wherever you go, but guess what? The local community, as you rise, they are going to be your biggest cheerleaders, because guess what? They'll say they knew you when. So you plant your seeds wherever you go. And no matter where you go, you'll continue to grow, and more people will know about you. And then this one will say, hey, you can tell them, remember to tell so-and-so if you meet them or see them, don't forget me. And just keep going from there.
I'm glad that this could add some value to you. So get out there and find your tribe, Jeremiah. We're going on to our next segment, and we're going to get ready to play a dream game. We are on to our dream game with Lisa and Nkonoki. So Lisa, I've got a couple of questions for you, and they will not be difficult, because you know why? They're going to be about you. You and, well, right. We're going to see how well you know yourself and your dreams. So you talked a little bit about this really already, but just get specific, like, are you living your childhood dream? What was your childhood dream, and are you living it?
My childhood dream was it's probably bigger than I can think. I would say I'm living it, because every day I live with no regrets in terms of if I died tomorrow, I have tried to do everything I wanted to do. So for the most part, yes, I'm living my dreams.
So what was your childhood dream?
My childhood dream was to work in the entertainment industry, to work in Hollywood, which I did do, and to do content. So I'm still working on content and working on some new projects now that continues that dream. So I haven't given up on extending my dreams, I will say, and broadening them into other areas and helping people. So that was my dream, always to help people, and that's what I'm doing.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So what has been your greatest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
My greatest challenge, I think, was when I lived in Hollywood, and Norman Lear said to me at the end of the summer that I had to come back to school in Connecticut, and I didn't want to do that. And then he said he'd pay for me to go to school. So it was kind of like, I didn't want to do that. So every year, what I would do is I'd go back to California, keep up with my networks. Mm-hmm. And then I created the pageant for young girls of color, Little Miss Black Central Connecticut. And I would take the winners of my trip here, of my pageant here, and take them to California and give them their dreams along the way. So while I was cultivating my own dreams, I was helping others build theirs from a young age. So now 40 some years later, I see some of these young people who come back to me and say, remember my first trip to Hollywood, my first trip on a plane was you taking me. And so there's nothing more gratifying than seeing people, I can't believe it's 40 plus years, but seeing that actually still play out in so many different lives. I feel that's how I overcame that challenge, was by doing something, putting something into someone else instead of kind of focusing on what my disappointments were at the time.
Wow. As we talked about being of service, once again, being of service and giving back. So, okay. So we are a community here of dreamers, affirmers. We want to claim and affirm with you what's on your bucket list. What's a dream that you still have on the horizon?
To work on a project that I actually am just working on called Norman and Me. It's the story about how I met Norman Lear, and actually turning that into TV or movie or something in terms of a series, or actually one-off, movie of the night, movie of the week. That, and also I did something about my grandkids and family called a takeoff on it called Blended. So I have those two shows where people wouldn't think that the blended family is the way it's supposed to be. I think stereotypical. So it's kind of fun play on what people believe African-American families should or shouldn't be when it comes to affluence, or what that looks like. And then the last thing would be a Christmas movie about a Black family Christmas movie. I love Christmas, and I am a GG with the Christmas. And I think you probably have seen I have over 60, 70 Black Santas. So yeah, I want to do something around Christmas too.
Okay.
Christmas food.
Wow. Well, we may have to collaborate on something there, because I wrote a Christmas story musical play that we may have to talk about.
Okay.
That's good. We'll see. Possibilities, Purveyor of Possibilities.
That's it.
You never know.
Possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. Lisa, really, we're going to claim, right, Dreamers, claim, affirm with you. Your projects are done. It is so. They are in the world. The Norman Lear story, I can't wait. I'm already claiming that is amazing. Blended. I think we all could definitely gain some insight. We all need to have an experience of understanding what it means to be a blended family, right? Yeah. Because and just families in particular. Yes. What does it mean to even be family?
And my book too. I have a book, so it's just getting with the top publisher. So that's my other thing. It's actually there, but I have to just kind of get it to the next level. So it's all things that I know will happen, but it'll happen in time. And I think that's the other thing. Timing is important. You don't give up on your dreams. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. If it's supposed to happen, you just have to be persistent. Persistence pays. That's what I say.
Ooh, catching that nugget. It's just a quick one. Persistence pays from Lisa Nkonoki. There you go. That's the last nugget for today from Lisa Nkonoki. Lisa, I had a great time with you.
I had a great time.
I'm so glad that you came right back at you. I'm so glad that you came. You spent some time here. You took time out of your busy schedule, because I know you are busy. So Dreamers, I hope you've enjoyed today's show with Lisa Nkonoki, dropping so many valuable nuggets, not only on being an entertainment boss, but really how to live your life with purpose, how to live your dreams. So I hope you've taken a lot of notes. She shared a great deal of information. And the good thing about it is, hey, you can watch it over and over and over again, and also share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us, make comments, join our community. Really, we need the support, and we want to continue to support you and your dreams, not only to just be dreaming, but to help them to actually manifest. I am Sherripullum. Again, I'm always happy every time you come and spend time here with me. And I thank you so much for being a part of our community. Lisa, again, thank you. And I'll see you again next time right here on Dreamers Unite in the studio.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you.